3 minutes,
Day.
2 minutes. Mow, 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 mow.
Oh, yeah. Get ready for this.
Oh, no.
If anybody had any idea the pain that I have to go through to just try to get this show off the ground every single time. It's like
Sounds like you're a complainer.
That's why you're the technical director.
That's what I'm talking about, and I just banged my mouth into the microphone. Welcome to the Sports Porch Pittsburgh. Here we
Rookie.
are live all over social media. We are live on Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter, and we are also at
X.
theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com.
That's right. And we drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And just want to thank you guys for watching and sticking with us here. We got a lot of things coming up that we're going to talk about.
A ton.
Not a lot of Pirates, please. Please.
They always argue with me. That's because that's the Pirates logo right there in the background.
Oh, is that what it looks like?
That's right. And we are going to talk a little bit about the Pirates, but it is football season, and I know everybody's jonesing for some football.
We sure are.
So let's just get to the Pirates right now. Doubleheader yesterday. They split. They lost 2 of 3 from Cincinnati. They're 11.5 games out. They are currently playing the Mets right now. They are leading 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Here's what I'm going to.
Sawinski home run.
I don't know. I'm not even going to check. We do have a comment. I'm sure it's DG, and yes, it is. Greetings, gentlemen. DG. Always in the house. Martha.
What's up, Martha?
Hey, Martha.
Hey,
welcome.
Martha. How are you doing here?
David, as always.
Listen, guys, if you want to get into the show, you can always call us with your thoughts, 412-805-7236. And if you're
Wait, you said you weren't going to put it up.
yeah, but you guys gave me crap about it. So I was like, all right, I'll leave the phone number.
We're going to
up
give
there.
you
Why
crap
not?
about
Yeah.
anything.
412-805-7236.
Thank you, Schwab.
Now would be a great time to call. Lines are open.
Yeah, lines are open. So
Line.
I'm trying to connect the Bluetooth to the I'm trying to connect the Bluetooth to the
this technical director.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You think that would have been done before the show?
Why do
I was
that?
going to leave it off. Do you see what I'm dealing with, people? Do you understand this? I'm trying to get a sports show started, and these guys are like, and I can't. Okay,
Come on, Martha's ready for some Steelers.
I thought you said we weren't going to. I thought you said we weren't going to talk any minor league baseball today.
We're talking Pirates. Here's what I have to say about the Pirates.
Double A.
Okay, here's what I have to say. First of
Go
all,
ahead.
Steve and I were talking before the broadcast.
We were.
All right. Jack Sawinski.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you've got any comments on Jack Sawinski, drop them in the comments section. Do you think the kid should be allowed to play every day? Now, look, I don't want to hear he's batting 200. I think he's batting 200 because they didn't let him play. They moved him around the lineup. The guy's still the home run leader on the team.
I know that's
with
ridiculous.
21 bombs. Brian Reynolds isn't even anywhere near him. He's like 6 behind him, and he's second on the team.
He was hurt too.
Yeah, that's true, but he's second on the team in RBIs. And I'm telling you right now, I am not a fan of Shelton at all. Not at all.
I bet you were after he got thrown out.
I was admittedly I missed that part of the game, but I don't even care anymore. Okay.
But he was a really good manager from that point on, wouldn't you say?
Oh, he was. He was perfect.
I think it was his best game.
Sitting in the clubhouse doing nothing. Yeah, those guys call it in. But the thing is that I think Shelton is a horrible manager, absolutely terrible. I don't know how much does Charrington have his hand in who plays and who doesn't. Some GMs do, some don't.
Yeah, nobody really knows.
Nobody really knows.
No, it's a mystery.
You got to figure Charrington doesn't have too much because he's not really a baseball guy. He's more of a manager, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I doubt he's going to interfere with a guy who knows baseball during the season.
Yeah, I have no idea, but my opinion is that Jack Sawinski is a victim of this Pirates management style, because the guy is lost at the plate. He has no idea how to hit left-handed pitching, and he hasn't been given any sort of guidance. And don't tell me the Pirates have a hitting coach. I think most everybody watching and listening agrees. Their hitting coach is horrible. And I think if they had put Sawinski in, left him at the number 5 spot or any spot, just leave him in that role, because he's only committed 1 error in center field this year and 1 error since July 12th of last year. Okay. He's a great fielder. He's a great center fielder. He's got pop in his bat, and he needs to learn to hit.
He's not a great center fielder.
Yeah, he is.
But I think what they need to do is they need to let him develop so that he can hit left-handed pitching and he can hit a curveball.
Exactly.
They got to figure that out, and they're not going to figure that out this year.
They could have, though. That's what I'm saying. I
think if you bat him behind O'Neal Cruz next year, then maybe he's or you put O'Neal Cruz behind him so that they can't pitch around him, and then maybe he learns how to walk a little bit. I think that's
that kind of party.
That's a better setup for us.
Hey, Shimei.
Hey, let me ask you a question about overtime.
Okay.
Or extra innings, as it's called.
Overtime.
In Major League
hockey,
Baseball.
Jesus. Yeah. Overtime.
Sorry, I'm ready for other sports.
I know you are.
I'm absolutely ready for overtime.
I know.
And extra time, but not extra innings. Why do they still put a ghost runner on second base?
I mean,
and it's permanent now, because they said they were going to try it for a while, and then at the beginning of this season, they were going to say whether or not. Why do they still do that? Why is that necessary in life?
They do it for the same reason they have the pitch clock. It's so you don't have 19 inning games.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as baseball goes, I do think it's stupid.
Yeah. I mean,
you got to earn your way on base.
It's actually worse, to use a hockey euphemism. I think it's actually worse than a shootout, because you're just literally giving somebody. You're just putting somebody on second base for no reason.
I know.
Like with the shootout, at least it's some skill involved, right? It's 1-on-1, and it makes a lot of sense. Like maybe they should just go to the freaking home run derby and just be done with it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be much different. I want to get Schwaber's take on this, but here's the one thing that I did notice. In extras the other day, Beto got the loss, but it wasn't an earned run.
Right.
So why should he get a loss? Yeah. Why should he get a loss if it's not an earned run? It doesn't
count as a run, but he gets a loss.
Right. But he gets a loss. So what do you think, Schwaber, about the ghost runner?
Well, I don't like it. I actually think that the ghost runner gives extra innings advantage to the away team.
I agree.
Because they've got you got a pretty good chance with a runner on second that you're going to score. And so now, the other team is left with, okay, now we got to score to tie it up, or let's say that the away team gets another run. Now it's like, oh, we're really in a hole now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I get it. Look, I mean, the bottom line is it's not in the postseason. So for that reason, I'm okay. If it was in the postseason, I think it was ridiculous, but I'm used to it at this point. It's interesting though, because there actually is some strategy involved. Like it's amazing how very few teams will bunt the runner from second to third.
Right.
That's a lost art in the major leagues. They don't teach that at all anymore.
And it's harder to bunt now that you don't have the shift on, right?
Right.
So you actually have to do it pretty well to be able to get the runner over there.
Right. But I always find it really interesting. Like, now I sort of get the idea that, okay, if you have a runner on second, if the ball's not smashed, you should be able to score on a single. But what's kind of interesting is like, okay, so let's say the away team doesn't score, and now you're starting with a runner on second base. Why wouldn't you bunt, get him over to third, so you could win the game with a fly ball out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And nobody does it. Nobody does it.
Yeah. And no, the first guy that decides, there will be a player that decides, I am going to learn how to bunt like a boss. And then they're going to use him.
Yeah. They'll just put him in. Yeah. Just put him in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be like one of those guys who it's coming.
Well, like a
but he's so
shootout
good at
specialist in hockey.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So as far as the Buccos go, the one other thing that I wanted to talk about,
Please, just
and-
make it the last thing.
and I want to
Bring it back
remind
to the
you,
We're
Steelers.
already 10 minutes over where I wanted to be. And I blame myself for asking the question, but I
Yeah,
had
and
to.
let's
yeah,
and let's
you just
bring
take
it back
off
to the
that.
Steelers.
It's because of that dumb Nike hat you have on.
Thank you.
So
It is. I never wear a hat.
here's
That's problem.
here's the other thing that I hear a lot of, and this drives me batshit. Okay, it really, really does. I am watching the sports personalities in this little hamlet we call Pittsburgh
Mhm.
talk about how it's actually, or should be actually possible that maybe we'll see Paul Skeens in the major
yeah.
leagues this year.
I've heard this.
How
morning.
can you possibly think that that is a good thing? There is nothing good about that. There's nothing good about having Paul Skeens on the opening day roster next year. Nothing at all. There is no way. Look,
And on the opening day roster?
no.
I think opening day rosters
should
okay
be.
next year.
No.
No, but I think
disagree.
playing him this year is just an absolute farce.
Yeah.
And the reason they're saying it is because he's in Altoona now, and Altoona's season ends soon, so he's only going to get a few starts. So they're like, well, if he pitches well there, it makes sense to bring him up because I think the rosters are expanded or some shit like that.
Right.
Look, here's the thing, and I've made this point over and over on the
Oh,
Buccos.
Robert, stick around. I
Oh.
would love to talk about the tartare
Yeah, we will talk about that, but
and not the meat.
I've talked about this over and over on
Let's bring it back to the Steelers.
not the sauce or the meat.
Well, you know,
Mark made a
steak tartare.
comment.
You love steak tartare.
Mark made a comment on the Philly show about he talked about Hardin, and Hardin is ball dominant, and it was all I could do not to right. And I didn't say anything, but
he is
yeah,
ball dominant.
ball
though.
dominant.
He is right about that.
I was like, I was thinking, what exactly is ball dominant?
What are
Is
you,
that
a
what my
child?
Husky's trying to do? Yes, I am a child. So
Yes,
Paul
he is.
Skeens should not
Come on,
be.
you know that.
Look,
Mhm.
here's my point about Paul Skeens. This is it. He needs to learn how to pitch at the major league level. And I don't care if he was a god in college. It's a major league sport. And whether it's baseball, hockey, or football, when you come up and you play with the best of the best of the best, you need time for the game to slow down. And yes, there are guys that can come up right out of college. There's no minor league, there's no real minor league football, and they can perform at a high level in football. But even for them, even your quarterbacks that are great, the game has to slow down. In hockey, same thing. They got to put a couple years in the minor leagues, get used to the style, get used to the speed. You're playing with the best in the world. Baseball,
Same thing with figure skating.
right? Exactly, and tennis and pickleball and everything else.
Pickleball.
Figures.
Now you got my attention.
Schwab.
Same thing with squash.
He is. He should not be up here. I'm tired of hearing this kind of crap. And what it is it's coming from management. They're dangling that carrot out there that maybe we get a guy that throws 102 miles an hour every other pitch, and then all of a sudden it's the same thing as dangling. It's the same thing as dangling Andrew McCutcheon out there. It's the same thing as dangling it's a rebuild out there.
Yeah.
They have not, their record with pitchers is not good. And if it is, the pitcher leaves. Let's get off this Paul Skeens thing, and let's start thinking about the Jack Sawinskis, the Henry Davises, the Andy Rodriguez, the Brian Reynolds, the Pegueros that are on the team. Let's start thinking about how they fit and getting them their at bats and the experience. And let's see where Paul Skeens is next year after a month or two at AA or AAA. And then if the Pirates look like they're in good shape, bring him up. Look, Mitch Keller is not going to be a mentor to Paul Skeens. Mitch Keller is having trouble figuring out what kind of pitcher he is. and you don't need and you're not going to bring back Rich Hill to mentor him. So
sounds like sales at Wiggle Whiskey are down. So let's put some butts in the seats.
That's exactly right. So with that being said, I don't want to belabor the point any longer.
Let's bring it to the Steelers.
We are now going to bring it to what everybody wants to talk about, and obviously that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we do, I want to remind you that your Buccos report after every Pirates game on the podcast on iHeart, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts will continue to come your way, and I do appreciate everybody listening. Okay, buddy. Preseason victory, your take. Lines are open, 412-805-7236. Give us a ring. Tell us how you feel about the Steelers' first preseason game. I'm just going to let you away, Steve.
Only one line open right now. So
okay, yeah,
give it a shot. Get in there. Steven, tell us what you think about the Steelers.
First of all, I don't give a shit about winning a preseason game.
Of course, nobody really.
They don't. That doesn't mean anything. What actually means something is what the first teams did. Meaning, what did the first team offense do if they played? Our Steelers did play their first team offense, which is actually kind of bumps the trend. Like a lot of teams did in the first preseason game, they don't even play the first team. I'm kind of glad that they did, because otherwise there'd be a lot of speculation about what was happening. I would have to say with the Steelers offense, I was glad about a few things. One, it was a pass the run offense, not a run to pass offense, meaning they opened up the run, which they didn't actually do very much running, at least with the first team, but they passed the ball. And what did I like about the passing of the ball? They actually, to me, it looked like Kenny Pickett's security blanket was definitely Deontay Johnson.
Right.
Like he always was looking for him first. And if he was open, bam, he just got it to him, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with that, because I think, and the other thing is Deontay Johnson didn't run backwards. So those are two really positive things, right? Yeah. And then what was really impressive was I think they had the ball like around the 35 on that 3rd and 8 play, right? And what I liked about that play was normally Steelers from last year, 3rd and 8, what would they do? Maybe throw it 5 yards and hope that the guy can run for 3 yards to get the first down.
Right.
No, they actually threw it past the yardsticks.
Wow, what a revelation.
Right. It was like almost like a 15-yard pass.
Right.
And they only needed 8-yard gains. And then, Pickens made the play. He made the guy miss, and he's in the end zone. I mean,
it's the only reason I do this, so I can hear Schwab.
Did you catch it, Steve?
Smart.
I said Canada's starting to figure it out.
Right. You can actually throw the ball more than 5 yards down.
Yeah, but he's making fun of me.
No, he's definitely figuring it out, because the only jet sweep they ran was to Calvin Austin III.
I was going to
CA3. That's my favorite player.
The guy who actually should be running jet sweeps with his blazing speed.
Right.
So that's what I liked about the first team offense, and clearly Calvin Austin III is a fast man.
He's fast. Yeah. Let me get a couple comments in here while you get there. First of all, DG says your boy Kenny looked pretty good. I actually thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he looked good.
And
he looked comfortable, which was more important.
And I was super happy. And I think that Matt Canada.
Are you being blinded by any romantic feelings, though?
Not yet. Okay. He's going to have to do a lot better.
I can tell by looking in his eyes. So there's definitely some romantic feelings still there, for sure.
I would not call it romantic.
Well, there's a twinkle in his eye when he says Kenny. Let's just put it that way. I don't know what it is, but it's there.
I'm telling you guys, this is what I put up with. All right. So I thought he looked pretty good.
One more thing about the offense. The offensive line, they didn't start my man, Broderick Jones.
I know.
But Broderick Jones definitely had more starts than Dan Moore Jr.
You mean more
snaps.
Right,
sorry.
Right.
And there was this great analysis of every single one of his plays on YouTube that I watched. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant breakdown. I wish I had the guy's name. I'll get it for you. We'll put it in the comments.
Okay.
But basically, Broderick Jones played almost a perfect game. which is
He
incredible.
did have a holding call late in the game. I did see that.
Oh yeah, did you
Not
go back and watch it? There
No.
was absolutely no
There was no
holding
hold-
on that
yeah.
play.
Just because he's such
Absolutely
a
none.
monster. It looked
Well,
like he held.
the guy was running behind him, so he pushed him,
Gotcha.
and I guess they said he grabbed him, but
Whatever.
it trust me, that would never get called in the regular season. Well, maybe it would.
Yeah.
I don't care. I think the guy played great, and I'm good with that. Like I said, I think he should be starting. But if they want to put Dan Moore Jr. in there, and he looked good too, by the way, so I'm not bashing him.
Yeah. You
But
bashed him last week.
I did, and I don't apologize for that.
I don't want you to.
So
You'll figure it out.
So I believe that we've got to, like, there was some talk coming out of camp, like, oh, he's not looking that great. Like, who knows if he might be a bust. Like, I was hearing some rumblings of that with Broderick Jones. Watching him play last week, I have no problem. I think he's going to be great. He just mauled some guy, and the other guy who actually did really well was, from a blocking standpoint, was their tight end Washington.
Yeah.
He buried some guys. I
Yeah.
mean, just absolutely buried some guys and dove up some gigantic holes that our running backs were running through. So that's what I love about the offense. Let's talk about the defense, because I see there's a
Yeah, there is, but I want to get
Kwon
I want to
Alexander
get I want to
stuff.
get his comment about Calvin Austin is a stud, and the Pickett to Pickens is going to be awesome to watch. I just want to get in one comment that I have on Calvin Austin the third. That touchdown catch from Rudolph.
Yeah.
Now I of course you realize he's running against a second or third string cornerback,
Yeah.
but the fact that he was able to run by that guy by a mile tells me look, the comparison is going to be, it's a bad comparison right now.
Yeah.
But I think there's a potential for a Tyreek Hill comparison.
Of course,
small
just because.
Oh my God, you are so ridiculous. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my
You
life.
think so? Do you?
Yeah, like I'll tell you who right now Calvin Austin the third is hoping he can be. He's hoping he can be Quez Watkins.
Really?
He scores 70-yard touchdowns all preseason because he's so darn fast. And then in the regular season, he catches like 2 touchdowns.
Okay. All right. We're going to remember this.
Okay. I'll make a bet
one
with you right now that Calvin Austin III has more catches on the year than Quez Watkins or whoever the hell
that actually is a bet I might take, because
I'm with you.
They're saying Quez is having a great camp.
Let's do it. Let's do it live right now.
Who's got to wear what?
What is it?
Okay.
We're adults now. We don't got to wear stupid stuff.
He's so afraid to lose. He is so afraid to lose.
No, yeah, we'll go Quez Watkins versus CA3.
Let's do it.
Okay, so what happens? What's the bet?
It's total number of receptions. Or are we going to go yards also?
No, let's just do total number of receptions. Let's make it easy.
Total number of
All right,
receptions.
total number of receptions.
Okay, piece of cake. Done.
Okay, and what are you going to win or lose?
We'll figure that out later.
We'll figure it out later.
We're going to forget about this.
No, we absolutely will.
But still, the fact that you actually said Tyreek Hill with CA3, are you out of your freaking mind?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you right now. You heard it here first.
Pickens and Deontay Johnson are closer to Tyreek Hill than CA3.
No, not even. No way.
Not when it comes to speed.
Yeah,
when it comes to like being a good football player.
He's the next Tyreek Hill, Hall of Fame.
I love it. Double down. Just go for it. I love it.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I like Robert Whitney says Calvin Austin is a stud.
Yes. He is a stud. Oh, wait a minute. DG's got one in here. My guy, and yes, there's a romantic bias there. Mason Rudolph dropped in a beauty for that touchdown. Rudolph is better than Trubisky.
He didn't really have to drop it in fairness, David. He was wide open, but he did put it right in on his hands.
Yeah.
He didn't overthrow him. He didn't underthrow him, and he could easily run in from there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that wasn't on the air. That was just in the.
No, that was just in my head.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Okay, I say that to myself all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody heard that. That was just in my head.
Nobody heard that. Amy May says Chris is ridiculous with the Tyreek comment. Well, maybe you could spell Tyreek right, Amy May. We'll take you seriously.
So let's talk about the defense, shall we?
Yes. Robert says Kwon Alexander, I'm guessing he's talking about, looked awesome. Kwon. A couple good hits. Also, I bet that Rudolph takes back up over Trubisky. He looked like like pure dog, you know what. Yes, talk about the defense.
So the defense, first series they were in 3 and out. Gotta love it. Although I guess they were, I kind of wish they would have been able to go for it on that 4th and 1 just to see what would have happened.
Right.
Because I mean, you only do that in the preseason, right? You're never going to go for 4th and 1 at that point, no matter who you're playing or what the scenario is.
Right.
But because they had an offense, whatever illegal procedure lined up wrong, 4th and 6, they had to punt it. I just like the way the defense looked like they could fill the gaps real quick on the run. Pierre, gosh, I forget him. Number 42 for the Steelers.
Yeah, Justin St. Pierre.
He's terrible. He's got to go. Like he is not a good backup. Like if he has to come in a game where he's got to fill in for our cornerbacks, we're screwed because he's terrible.
JSP.
Yeah, well, Joey Porter Jr. didn't play at all. So, I mean, there's really no analysis of what he did because he didn't do anything.
That doesn't even make any sense. Why did he not play?
I don't know. I don't know. It was curious to me, but not a single play. So, I don't know. Maybe he's a superstar and they're going to launch him in week 1. Right at Purdy.
I don't know about that.
Maybe it was just getting toasted by Tyreek Hill. I mean Calvin Austin III.
Yes,
Tyreek Hill. Everybody gets toasted by Calvin Austin III because he's a stud. Just remember that.
It's Calvin Hill III, Tyreek Austin.
No, so I think overall, I think the Steelers did play very good. I mean, I'm not ready to say, wow, their offense is going to be great. They're going to score 30 points every game.
Right. I mean,
they only scored 30 points once all of last year.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
But the fact that they came out and scored 27 and they looked really good. I like their 2-minute offense too. I thought their 2-minute offense was pretty impressive. So let's just roll with it. Let's see what we can do against Buffalo this week.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Preseason, I thought the important thing about watching that first series for me was just to see how Kenny Pickett looked behind the line and to see if he was comfortable making his reads and to see if he was able to kind of make things happen. And he did. And it was only one series, and everybody does that once a game.
Yeah.
So that was important, though. So I thought that was a good sign. I thought it was it's hard to say this is a good sign when they don't whip out a jet sweep right away. But, Matt Canada would have to live in a bunker that was completely hermetically sealed to not know that if he ran more than one jet sweep to a guy that wasn't fast like Tyreek Hill,
Junior.
Yeah, that's even better. I like that one. He'll figure it out.
Tyreek Hill the third.
Well, baby Tyreek Hill.
Baby Ty. Baby
Tyreek Hill.
Baby Ty. You got it. So I thought there were some good takeaways from it, but again, everything in preseason game number 1 is totally with a grain of salt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, their rush didn't look that great. I mean, meaning
Cam didn't play.
They didn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They didn't look like they were going to be dominant about rushing the quarterback. They didn't run any blitz packages.
Why would they? You don't want to get anybody hurt.
No, but it's just kind of a curiosity. Like, are they going to be a defense that thinks it's going to be good enough that they can just go out there and throw out a dime package every now and then and be okay? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, it's you can't really buy too much into the preseason, but their defense looked okay. I mean, they didn't look dominant.
Yeah.
They didn't look like they were going to run over people. Although Kwon Alexander is definitely a stud. And Mark Robinson actually played really well for a guy who got injured last year. He still has a lot of speed for being injured last year.
Yeah.
I'm not putting him in there as anything but a special teams player and if one of the other linebackers get hurt. But it is good to see him out there, and I love his speed. I think he can cover a lot of ground. Maybe he might be able to cover a tight end every now and then on third down play just to mix it up a little bit. Landon Roberts really only played 2 snaps, so you can't really don't know.
They're looking for him to be the leader in the linebacking corps.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Right.
But overall, I'd say the Steelers look very solid. And
did anybody lower on the depth chart make a case for a roster spot?
No.
That was an easy answer.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there
So
wasn't
nobody
anybody,
did anything in the second half.
You know who I thought didn't look good from a wide receiver standpoint was that Cody White. He looked terrible.
Okay. Well, we
He looked
probably won't see
terrible.
him by time season.
But I don't think I honestly don't think they need him. But he was somebody that everybody was like, he might be okay. I think he was like a 3rd or 4th round pick this year or last year, but he didn't look good at all. His hands looked terrible. And I think he was doing return duties, which is going to be baby Tyreek's job.
Baby Tyreek,
Yeah.
baby Ty. So I think that the takeaway from the first preseason game is that it looks like they are progressing. DJ, didn't we pick up another linebacker from the Colts? We have 20 linebackers.
We do have 20 linebackers. I didn't hear about
a
linebacker from the Colts.
Yeah, I don't know. I can let me pull up the Steelers. So
there was some movement today in the NFL though.
Yeah,
with some running back.
There was. Yeah, Dalvin Cook is now on the Jets. I want to talk about that in a second, but I'm going to the Steelers just to see if there's any news real quick. Kendrick Green at fullback, Joey Porter.
That was a joke. That was a joke, by the way. Not one single play. Actually, Cam Hayward was in the fullback position for a little bit. He looked all right. I think if they need a fullback, which I don't believe they do need a fullback, I think Cam would do just fine there.
Here's the thing about the movement in the NFL and Dalvin Cook going to the Jets. Okay. Now remember, we've talked about this in years past, and I have always said the Jets are cursed. Okay.
You have
quarterbacks go to the Jets to die.
Oh,
okay.
Actually, you know what? I disagree. And I will say this. I don't think you should be saying anything about the Jets if you're not watching Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You should be watching it.
Why?
Well, I will say this.
Week 1, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, I will say this. I mean, is Aaron Rodgers a nutball? Sure.
Yes.
Now, but I will say this. I mean, and granted, he knows that they're being, videotaped everywhere they go.
Of course. Right? And he loves it.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say that he has, at least on that tape, shown to be a pretty good teammate. I mean, he's really helping Zach Wilson like a ton, where he doesn't really necessarily have to. And, he's doing things like, he was talking to teammates. He's like, hey, this is what you should do if you want to be a leader on this team. Every day at lunch, sit next to another guy that you don't know and get to know them a little bit. Just stuff that I thought was good.
So he tells other people to do it, but is he doing it?
Of course he is. But...
I think he is. So, I mean, I have to say, I felt I was more impressed with him than I expected to be.
So you think this year the Jets are going to figure it out?
I do. I do. I do. I think the Jets
maybe a little precursor to his picks.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like Miami in that division.
I want to know if the word is actually is it figure or figure?
Figure.
It's figure it out. Yes.
I would say
figure.
Let me put it to you this way. I would be surprised.
Thank you for that.
I would be surprised if the Jets don't make the playoffs, barring a Rodgers injury. I mean, think about it like this.
Oh, that's easy.
Think about it like this. The Jets were actually pretty good last year with no quarterback. Now all of a sudden you're adding Aaron Rodgers to a Garrett Wilson. And, he brought Lazard with him. He brought Cobb with him.
Cook is there now.
They have another big wide receiver. I'm just drawing a blank on the name.
Yeah.
He's got Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and the rookie running back last year was fantastic.
Brees
Hall.
Right.
I mean, they've got some major weapons, man.
Of course they do. They're cursed.
Then go ahead and name somebody on their defense. You can't. That's their problem.
Abraham.
Didn't he retire like 30 years ago? I don't know.
I just figured it's probably
Good try, Mark.
Oh no, actually, how about Sauce Gardner?
Sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
That's a
Sauce.
good point.
Yeah,
Sauce
yeah.
is definitely a talent
Yeah.
on that defense.
Yes. And
Who will get burned by Baby Ty.
there you go. Sauce versus Baby Ty. Do they play the
I love
Jets
it.
again this year?
I don't think they
No,
do.
they don't.
No.
Yeah, I just don't like the Jets organization. I think they're horrible. I think it's a curse. Quarterbacks go there to die. Brett Favre died there. Joe Flacco died there. Aaron Rodgers is going to die there.
But it has nothing to do with anything.
DG says I have to agree with Chris until shown otherwise. The Jets is where quarterbacks go to die. Thank you, DG.
But the one thing you can't deny is if Dalvin Cook is still a talent, which I think he is.
No, I think Schwab's
I don't think he's at the top
of
of his talent level now. I think he's coming down from the top of his talent
and they don't need him to run every down.
But they don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, Unlike Zeke, who is now with the Patriots. I think Zeke is way down.
Right.
Zeke,
I agree.
Peaked like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It hasn't made good sense.
I just want to say that, Schwaber, I do agree with you that the Jets have a lot more talent on offense that they've had in a long time. And I do think that their chances of being a much better team this year are pretty good. But that curse is still there. So Zeke going to the Patriots,
they still have to play against like the Steelers. They have to play Bills twice, just like the Steelers.
Yeah,
they have to play against the Bengals twice. They have to play against the Ravens twice.
I just don't believe in curses. I just don't believe in curses. I just think, like think about it this way, like what you said, all these quarterbacks go to the Jets to die.
The Eagles were cursed for many years.
No, they weren't.
No, I don't think they were a curse team. I wouldn't call them a curse team.
I'm just trying to get a rise out of you, Schwaber. It's really
all I'm saying is that there were no players on the last Jets team that was cursed that are on this team.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I don't believe in that crap.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to see.
I think the thing that I agree with Chris on is that they get players from other teams after their prime, and they just don't do well. And the quarterbacks that they do draft that are young are garbage.
Yeah.
So I just think they lack in their ability to put together an offensive scheme that allows quarterbacks to thrive. Now that could change this year because you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and you have a potential rookie of the year last year in Garrett Wilson. I think that can definitely change. So if it's going to change, it'll change this year because if it doesn't change this year, they absolutely are cursed, and you can't deny that.
This is the year we determine the curse.
Yeah, if they go 7-10 this year, they're a cursed team.
Yeah, and DG's got it. Le'Veon Bell, he really lit it up in New York.
So did Neil O'Donnell.
Yep,
exactly.
O'Donnell. I mean, God, it's just unbelievable.
We could go on and on.
And the thing about it is that Rodgers he's past his prime. Is he better than the Brett Favre they got? Probably, but he's still passing. But didn't Favre go to the Jets and then to Minnesota and rattle off a 14-2 season or something there?
I forgot that Favre went to the Jets.
Yeah. So and my buddy Jeff from York, Neil O'Donnell, he was still in his prime.
Yeah, that was right after he blew it in the Super Bowl.
I know. I know.
Not a game I want to relive.
All right, let's go to Zeke.
So let me ask you this. So
here we go.
So last year, Aaron Rodgers for all intents and purposes, a pretty crappy team, right? 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 91.1 rating, 3,700 passing yards.
Horrible.
That's his bad year.
That's horrible. How is he going to
bad year?
How is he going to do any better than that on the Jets? Good Lord.
Well, think about it this way. He's just 1 year removed from 4,100, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and an 111 rating.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible that he could have one more MVP caliber type season. I would not say, I think it's a little premature to say he's past his prime.
And DG agrees with you. He says past his prime. Rodgers is still, in quotes, is still way better than most quarterbacks. Yeah, but here's the thing. He's only ever played for the Green Bay Packers in Wisconsin. He's never had the bright lights of New York City on him. And let me tell you, man, all he needs to do is have 1 or 2 bad games with those Jets fans, and You can forget about it.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers is an outer
innovation
space.
for him.
Aaron Rodgers is an outer space. He's got no clue what's going on this earth.
Yeah, he doesn't know where he is.
That's true.
He probably still thinks he's in Green Bay.
Yeah,
He's probably I mean, he's on Hard Knocks, but right now I think he thinks he's still meditating.
Yeah, it's the Matrix.
It's still the off
He
season.
believes
for
in the
him.
Matrix.
Yeah.
So Zeke, once again, Zeke on the Patriots. I thought this was going to happen, just because this is a classic Bill Belichick move. And I think that they're obviously not going to rely on him to run the ball 2 or 3 downs. I think he's going to be like their LeGarrette Blunt.
They're going to make him the goal line back. He's going to score 11
Yes.
touchdowns on the goal line, and on the year he's going to have 430 yards.
What do you think, Steve?
No, Ramondre Stevenson is a stud running back, and
Okay.
he's a beast down at the goal line. There's no way they're going to pull him out for that. But what they will do is probably every third series they'll let Zeke go in and probably get 10 touches, maybe a game at the most.
Okay. Like a change of pace.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason is they're going to be a run first team. I mean, who's their number one receiver up there? They
I don't
got
know.
Juju, and they got
Oh yeah, that's right. Juju went there.
they
Good.
got somebody else. They got somebody else
Yeah.
up there. Actually, somebody not bad. I can't remember who it is, but I think they're just trying to hide Mac Jones because his talent is, to me, it's like Kenny Pickett talent. It's like
mediocre.
yeah, you're
say
not
that about my boyfriend.
well. You know, they're
come
both
on.
only in their second years. Is this is Mac's
No, this is his third. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, Mac's really got to really put it up this year, but I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
I don't really
I don't
think so.
either.
I thought in his
I mean,
first
there's
year,
not a
he
lot of
showed
talent
little
around
moxie.
him.
Right.
So I mean, you can't really expect him. He'll have as good a season as Aaron Rodgers. How about that?
All right, there you go. Here's the one thing I would
You
say.
decide
Aaron
if it's
Rodgers
good or
is
bad.
insulted.
If Mac Jones had Joe Gibbs as his coach, he would win the Super Bowl.
No.
Yeah, that's
Come
also a
on,
no.
you were agreeing with me earlier, Schwaber. Not on that, but
Not on that.
we were
no.
having a debate as to whether Bill Belichick was actually one of the greatest because he had Tom Brady. And I said,
Chris said something ridiculous like Joe Gibbs is a better coach than Bill Belichick, which is I'm the first one to take anything against the Patriots and just keep bashing over the head. But that's just ridiculous.
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks and came back to a Dan Snyder fiasco and won a division.
there you go.
And he had like dementia at the same time. Like he couldn't, stop the play clock.
He did.
Remember?
He had to get that dig in. But yeah, that wasn't dementia. That was just, and the only reason he retired is because, God rest his soul, Sean Taylor got shot and died, or he might still be the coach. So no, I think Joe Gibbs was a much better coach than Bill Belichick.
There is no NFL.
He was also a better coach than Chuck Noll.
Now you're just sacrilege.
I know, I'm on a Pittsburgh show.
I could promise you
I'm kidding.
that Joe Gibbs probably makes the top 10 best NFL coaches of all time, but he's going to be 8, 9, or 10.
What do you think, Schwaber?
Well, I would say this. He's definitely not 8, 9, or 10. I think he's like 4, 5, or 6. But he might
Nobody's gonna
actually
put him that high.
but he might show
Other than
later.
you two.
He might show later simply because of the element of time. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah, it is true. So
I promise you, Chuck Noll, who coached earlier than him, would be higher on the list.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. That I was just messing around with. I think Chuck Noll took they had the benefit of a great draft, but he took a team that was absolutely horrible, and then he molded those guys into one of the most legendary football teams.
You might not like this, and I don't agree with it, but I think Mike Ditka probably would be higher on the list than Joe Gibbs.
That is complete.
Oh God,
that is complete horseshit.
That's ridiculous.
I
will say this. I will say this. And
why.
I will say this, and this is a compliment to one of Chris Klein's loved legends. I remember my first year at Drexel, I was watching an Eagles-Redskins game. And there was a guy there who was an Eagles fan. And he said something. It's like one of those weird things that I'll just never forget. And he's like, and I think the Eagles won the game. Like, that's when they had Cunningham, and I was like, what do you think today? And he's just like, I don't know, man. He's like, I'll tell you what, when we play the Redskins, guy I'm most concerned about is Joe Gibbs.
There you go.
And I always remember that. And like, I actually do think he's on the money with that. Like, to be honest, in my entire lifetime, the coach that I thought always outsmarted the Eagles coach the most was Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, but he was outsmarting Buddy Ryan. I mean, that's not very hard to do.
There were some good coaches back then. I mean, he coached against Vermeil. He coached against Andy Reid.
He coached against Parcells. He coached against Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
He coached against what's his name for the Cowboys? You know who I'm talking about. Tom Landry. And Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. He coached against Marv Levy and outcoached him in a Super Bowl. Dude, he's one of the greatest
Landry,
of all
also
time.
known as Chuck Noll's bitch.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of that stuff because we got to yeah. Here, Jeff Paulus, there's a good one. Kotite.
Oh yeah.
Does he bring back good memories, Schwaber? Rich Kotite?
We did win one playoff game with Kotite.
Okay, there you go. Well,
that's almost as much as Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, he's definitely based.
Yeah, an Eric Allen interception down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Eric Allen, he was good. I liked him a lot.
All right, so Bills, what are we looking for in the second preseason game? What do you want to see?
More of the same. I want to see them continue to throw the ball.
Yeah.
To open up the run. I actually like to see a little bit more running and a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. That'd be the only two things that I'd be looking for.
I wasn't impressed with anything Najee did, and he didn't play much.
No, he didn't play at all.
I'm still concerned about him. I'm concerned about him.
You should.
I'd like to see. I think our line, given the experience they've had together now, and then adding Broderick Jones, a big guy like Darnell Washington, Gentry can block. I think you got to see him get off to a good start, you guys laughed at me last year when I talked about Jaylen Warren, and now they're actually talking about Jaylen Warren being a better running back than Najee Harris.
That's
there
a joke.
People talking about it. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that it's
just the old thunder and lightning.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
It's RBBC anymore.
And Anna says Warren is a beast, and I couldn't agree with you more, Anna. The thing about Warren is that he's
a beast amongst little boys.
He's a beast amongst baby ties. Yeah,
he's small.
He is small, but man, his feet never stop, and he's always moving forward, and he can cut. Look, he's never going to be Tony Dorsett, you know what I mean? But he's got more drive, more vision, more ability. It's actually kind of a shame he doesn't have another 2 inches and 20 pounds.
I don't think he has any of those things over Najee. I think the only thing he does have over Najee is speed. He definitely has more speed than Najee does.
Right.
I'm sort of sensing like if it doesn't work out with Kenny Pickett, you might be moving on to Jaylen Warren.
Who, me?
Always got to have a plan B.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean?
Gotta have that twinkle in your eye.
Jalen's in the friend zone right now. But it's a backup plan.
Jalen's in the friend zone. He is. Jalen and I, we're kind of tight, but he's just a friend.
Gotta have a plan B.
Okay, more of the same, and we'll talk about that next week.
Oh, are we finally going to get to talk about hockey?
We are definitely going to get to talk about hockey, and I do want to remind everybody, first of all, that the Hockey Jesus does preach on the podcast, the Sports Porch Podcast, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. After every single Penguins game, the season is fast approaching. October. We're 60 days out, less than 60 days out now. And you got a little preaching you want to do right now. And if you guys have anything you want to say, we do. This is a live show on social media. You can call us at 412-805-7236. As Schwaber would say, get in now. Lines are open.
And
So
by the way, real quick, has anybody seen or heard from Pat?
Pat on
Yeah,
track.
now I'm starting to worry.
Because I'm starting to get concerned.
Yeah, where is Pat? We shouldn't actually be laughing, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
somebody want to
Yeah, we
text him?
should.
Yeah, okay, let's laugh. All right.
We'll text him after the show.
All
I'm
right,
sure
Jesus.
it's fine.
Yeah. Give it to us, HJ.
All right. So not much going on since the Carlson trade. There is
Sorry about that.
really
Yeah, my apologies.
right in the middle.
I apologize.
No, you don't.
No,
You
no.
did it on purpose.
Yeah.
No.
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 get
So
better
the
at
only two things that are going out there, and one I can't figure out, but I absolutely have to talk about it, is Yarmer Yager.
Yeah. What is
that
this?
is that real or is that fake?
I have no idea.
I honestly think it's one of those internet spoof things
Probably.
that like just got put out there because why not? Because they're signing all these old guys, right? Why not bring Jagr back, right? And why not put it out there? Because people are going to run with it. I mean, it caught my attention right
Isn't
away.
he 50?
Yeah, he's 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why hasn't anybody said that's bullshit? That's
Well,
what I want to know.
well, because one, he hasn't retired yet.
Well, we know that.
So he can still play. And there's speculation just because of his age that he does want to retire finally. But in order for him to retire, he has to actually have, I guess he doesn't actually have to have a contract.
Right.
But the speculation is he would want to retire a Penguin.
Right. Of course.
So therefore they would sign him. But the question, the what's out there now is he actually would play for the Penguins, not like sign a 1-day contract and then retire a Penguin. The speculation is he wants to play another year.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm kind of like. I could totally see the entire scenario you just talked about. It happens all the time.
Right.
Some of them sign a 1-day contract.
Right, exactly.
But the fact that they keep throwing in the league minimum indicates to me that, I mean, would they pay him the league minimum to sign for 1 day and retire?
No.
That indicates to me that he wants to play.
No, if they play the league, if they pay him the league minimum, it has to come off the cap. Right now, they're actually a little bit over the cap, so they would actually have to move somebody in order to do that. And actually, they're over the cap a little bit, and they actually have one less player signed than they should have.
Oof.
So if they brought somebody up like a Thomas Tatar, they would have to find about $700,000 that they would actually have to move either down to the baby pens or trade out of the organization. So I can't figure out the Jagr stuff. I do believe that it's just pure speculation.
I was going to say, what's your gut telling you? It's just internet fodder.
So my gut's telling me that, but my heart is saying bring him back,
please. Yeah,
please. Everybody would absolutely go nuts. The opening night. Imagine Connor Bedard on the other side. The new phenom for the Chicago Blackhawks, and you have the old man Jagr on the other side
with Sidney Crosby. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With Sid. And I think part of the other speculation that's kind of fueling this is the fact that, Jake had his surgery, so they're looking for a winger. That's what's also fueling this Thomas Tatar stuff.
I mean, look, Jagr was great. And there's no denying that.
Yeah, he was great for a lot of teams. For the Penguins.
Anyway, I mean, I know Gordie Howe played until he was 53.
No, what happened is Gordie Howe came back because Gretzky was in his rookie year, so he wanted to play
with Gretzky
against Gretzky.
Right.
So he signed. I don't even think he played a full year for Hartford.
But he was in his 50s.
He came back and played in his 50s.
Right.
Yeah.
How long had he been retired?
Well, he came back, I think, in like 1980. So he would have been retired for 8 years.
Holy hell. So,
yeah.
Honestly, look, the Pirates brought McCutchen back, and we all know that scenario.
Right.
They kind of needed to do that in a way.
No, the Pens absolutely don't need to do this. So then
why would they seriously,
I actually
think about this from a business perspective. Yes, jerseys, money, fans, goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's 50. Okay, he is definitely not at the top of his game.
Well, neither is Carter, and they're paying him $2.5 million.
But Carter's not 50. He's still, for all intents and purposes,
he's 51.
He's 51.
On the ice. He plays like 50.
Yeah. But I mean,
trust me. If you put Jagr out there with Carter, Yager would make Carter look like the 50-year-old.
I'm just
Just put Jagr out there on the power play.
No,
look,
they don't need him on the power play now that they got Carlson.
I just think I think that this first of all, I think this is total internet fodder.
I agree.
And if it's not, then I would seriously question Kyle Dubas's acumen as a general manager. Even with all of the good stuff he just did, it would put him right in the ditch.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, for you,
look, bring him back.
True Pittsburgh Penguins fans, it would put him further up high. Just because it's Jagr, that's it. And the reason Jagr left was because they were a crap organization at the time.
I know.
They couldn't afford things, and they had to let him go. And Jagr was kind of complaining at the time. Actually, by the way, I think it was like, that would have been like in that would have been in 2. So it would have been like 25 years ago. They actually got rid of him, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
But to bring him back would just make all that go away.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're up against the cap. You're already over the cap. You're going to waste a roster spot on a guy that you're probably not going to play a whole lot.
Look, you're right when it comes down to the logic.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's why
you want to try to win a cup this year. Why would you do that?
Well, you want to try and win a cup every year.
I know, but but it's not like you're rebuilding the team. You're actually trying to add the final pieces to win a cup.
Well,
I think further in the playoffs.
I think that will actually rely on Tristan Jarry's shoulders.
I get it. I get it. But you see what I'm saying, Schwaber? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? or are you sleeping? Have you?
No. I mean, I'm listening. I mean, it's weird. At the same time, the Flyers signed Jagr when he was, I don't know, maybe he was 40. And he was really good. So, who knows? I mean, apparently he's like one of those like workout phenoms.
Right.
He's probably still in better shape than just about anybody his age in the world.
Which would be us.
And so, would it surprise me if he actually played decent? And it really wouldn't. It really wouldn't. So I don't think it's totally crazy. Now, at the same time, I don't think there's any real need to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. I have a feeling I have a feeling it's not likely real, because if it was, there'd be more reporting from the big guys on it.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen much of that.
I agree with you there, and I think ultimately Dubas is just playing it as it's free media. Why not run with it?
Yeah, that's the old saying goes, any press is good press. Okay, anything else with the Pens? Other than you're so excited, I can like see you shaking like SpongeBob.
I'm trying to keep it tamped down, just because with Jake not starting the year on the team. And being in rehab, I think that's going to be a problem for the Penguins. I'm actually a little nervous about the start of the season, to be honest with you. It's an excited nervousness now that we got Carlson, and I may be buying a jersey, by the way.
Nice.
But
that could be a mistake, though.
That'll be a good $200 well spent.
That could be a mistake. You don't want to put undue pressure. You don't want to put any undue pressure on him.
Christ.
The good ones.
That's ridiculous.
The hockey Jesus gets the good ones.
Who in the hell? The hockey Jesus should get the good ones for free. That's what I think.
Let's
We're just going to call the Penguins and talk to them.
Maybe we'll talk to Fanatics and see what they got going on.
We got to get Tony the Tiger on that one. How about that?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Go ahead. You got one more thing on the Pens before I tell you what I watched today?
The one thing I will say is that Jagr does make the team. I think David had the best idea. We bring back the mullet.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to say. He is also a professional mullet stylist.
Oh yeah. I think you'll see the mullet everywhere back in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so
in full force.
Here's okay. So we have the Calvin Austin, we have the Tyreek Austin or Baby Ty Quez Watkins challenge. Maybe if Quez Watkins gets more catches, you got to bring back your mullet.
How about the loser has to wear a wig mullet for a show?
How about we just like
Wouldn't you like to see
how
Mark
about we
with a mullet?
I'd like to see Mark with hair, period.
yeah.
I know,
How about
this is like-
we just like act like adults and like I buy you dinner, you buy me dinner.
Because there's nothing
Nah.
fun about that.
There's nothing fun about that.
I'm gonna eat dinner. I'm gonna eat dinner anyway. I want to see you in a mullet.
little hot takers.
How about this?
I want to see
Mark,
you in a mullet.
Mark
He's gotta
wears
wear a mullet,
Mark
yeah.
wears a mullet,
Oh,
and I
that's
wear
fine.
a bald head.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
mullet.
Bald head,
I'll do
mullet.
the
No,
bald
no, I think Mark wears a mullet and you actually shave your head. Because
no.
Mark's not going to spontaneously grow hair.
No,
He tried.
I love
but it's
my
not
hair
gonna
too
happen.
much to shave my
Not
head.
going to happen.
Although I think I did almost make a bet about shaving my head, but it had to do
Yeah.
with the Pirates winning so many games, and I knew
Yeah.
that was a win.
Boy.
Yeah, that was easy. Okay, listen, I want to tell you guys something I watched today that I thought was I don't know. I found myself watching it, and it was one of those things where I was like, it kind of made me a little sick to think that I was curious about it. I watched Untold on Netflix, which is stories about sports people. Caitlyn Jenner.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I
Have you
haven't
that
seen
one?
it. No.
Okay, so it for me it's kind of cringy just because I don't have any issue with somebody who's transgender or their sexuality or anything. I don't care about any of that. You can be
Right.
whatever you want. Do
Mhm.
you?
Sure.
But the fact that Bruce Jenner, we grew up in the 70s. He was on the Wheaties box. The fact that he decided that he was going to be that he was going to transform himself, that blew my mind. It blew all our minds a few years because you're like, what? So I was really conflicted about watching it, and it actually was very interesting. But here's the thing about Bruce Jenner that I did not realize. He was he played football in high school. He got injured. A track coach picked him up and said, you would probably be really good at track and the decathlon. So he started, sports was his thing because he was always like trying to figure out who he was. He was, the whole transgender
We're still trying
thing.
that way.
Right. So, but the interesting thing is that he ended up going to this, I think it was called Grayson College or something, some like no-name college.
Yeah.
And he decided, I want to do the decathlon, and I'm going to concentrate on sports because I can't figure out what's wrong with me, who I am, and all my thought process. And so he made the first Olympic team, and he lost to this Russian dude. And then he said, when the Russian dude, Valulev or something was his name, world famous decathlete and like the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
And while he watched him at the 72 Olympics in Munich get the gold medal, they showed a video of Bruce Jenner, who he came in like 8th or 9th. He like totally lost.
Right.
He came in 10th is when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting there and you could see him mouth the words, "That's it. That's what I want." And then he said, from that moment on, he decided that the only thing I'm going to do is train for this, and that's it. And he had no trainer. He had no staff. He had nobody. He married his first wife, Christy. They moved to San Jose. He got a job as an insurance salesman. She was a flight attendant. They got an apartment next to this like training facility that wasn't an Olympic training facility. It was just like a
YMCA,
like a track.
A gym.
No, it was a track, dude. It was a track. And every morning, every day, he would train for 8 hours a day with his dog. And then some dude found him because then he would go and compete in like different stuff. And he said, I decided that, because I was having so many internal issues about who I was, this is how I could just be Bruce and like make Bruce the best version of Bruce ever. And the guy won the decathlon, won the gold. He never had a professional trainer in his life. He did it all by himself. And he said, I decided if I win,
well, the dog was good.
That's it. He decided if I win, that's it. I'm done. I'm done whether I win or not.
Yeah.
I'm done. And then he set the record for points. And then of course we all know he ended up being like he was on TV shows and stuff, but he never saw any of that coming. He said, I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for fame. I didn't do it for attention. I did it just because I had to, and I wanted the gold. To me, that ended up being the most impressive sports story that I've heard in my life. How does somebody who doesn't have a trainer, he has absolutely nobody was teaching him how to do any of this.
Well, Rusty the dog was pretty good.
How do you win an Olympic gold? How do you do that?
You run with your dog.
Yeah, and
Well,
now he's Caitlyn,
you run-
and I
you
respect
run-
that,
you
but
run-
it kind of screws with my head.
You run in 1976 when professional athletes really weren't a thing.
Yeah, well,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
if you were a good athlete, maybe you were part of it, or maybe you weren't. Now they actually seek these people out, and they start from a real young age, and now they're just incredible athletes. If you think about it.
So DG says Kenny and the property diva know about your new thing for Caitlyn Jenner. No, I don't have a thing for Caitlyn. I have a thing for Bruce.
Is that worse?
I'll let you be the judge of that. Brad Trombley. Brad, he wants to know if there's a hotel within walking distance of PPG Paints that's not $300 to $400 a night.
We can look that up for you, Brad.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
We'll get back to you.
Well, I don't know about not 300 to 400 a night, but
Here's my question. And granted, I don't stay overnight in Pittsburgh because I live 9 miles from downtown.
yeah.
Except when you're
Who in the hell would pay $300 to $400 a night to stay in Pittsburgh? Are you kidding me? I mean, maybe at the Renaissance, I get
Yeah,
it.
well, I mean, Steeler games, that's the problem. Like Steeler weekend,
Right.
that's the
Ridiculous.
thing.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Might be better off with an Airbnb.
Well, he wants to be within walking distance.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
know.
he's
He
talking
just wants to
about.
walk downtown.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what, Brad? We will try to do some research.
We'll
on
do
that.
some research. I'll talk
will.
to my wife works
We
downtown.
will.
She'll know some things down there.
All right. I think we've had enough.
We will get on that pronto.
There we go. Hey, listen, guys, I want to thank everybody who supports us for watching the Sports Porch on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. And of
Thank
course,
you,
you can
fellas.
always catch the podcast. We drop it right after the show. The Sports Porch on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And of course, the Buccos Report on the Sports Porch podcast. Do you
That
like my alter
pirate-
ego?
I like the fact that you play off of your alter ego.
Do you like that?
Brilliant.
Okay. All right.
Brilliant.
All right. That's it, guys. We are out. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jeff, for being here. We love you. We love you, DG. Take it easy, guys.
Good night. Good night, Pittsburgh. We'll see you on the flippity.